What's up, everybody? NT Certified here, and today we are going to get into the Nintendo Switch. So I've already done a PS4 collection, I have done an Xbox collection, I have yet to do a Nintendo Switch collection. And you can actually look at my collection, and then I'll kind of alter this into like a mini buying guide for people who don't already have a Switch and maybe thinking about getting a Switch because the system is amazing. Nintendo definitely came from left field with this thing and it's amazing. So I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of your time. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get right into it. Alright guys, before we begin, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, become a part of the Certified Club. We do multiple videos a week. We do wrestling, we do video games, we do video game streams, we do toy collections, we do live reactions, and we do everything else in between. So become a part of the movement. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. Alright guys, here we go. We are going to go in no particular order, so I'm just going to go through my game lineup. We're going to go through some of my collector's editions. We're going to go through some accessories, and that's going to be everything. So let's start with a really cool game, and a game that a lot of people may have missed. This is Exeunt Verge. So, Exeunt Verge is a side-scrolling platformer. So you are a scientist and you're a part of an explosion, and the explosion knocks you unconscious, and you wake up all this time later, and you wake up in this in a completely new world, a world that's like mechanical, and there's monsters, and then there's this voice, you know, up in the sky, like in his head, and it's telling you that, you know, you have to fight your way out of this world. So that's the premise of this game. But the thing that's amazing about this game is that it reminds you so much of like things like Master Blaster and Metroid, and it stays true to those classic game elements, which is why this game has gone on as a sleeper hit on the Switch, and a lot of people don't know about it. So if you are looking to get a Switch and you love that classic feel, this is one of those games that you want to get on your Nintendo Switch. I recommend it. Definitely look up Exeunt Verge. Next game up, this is Fire Emblem Warriors, and this is the special edition. So Fire Emblem Warriors, this bad boy comes with a lot of cool things, and it's like super freaking heavy. The game, the character card set, the poster, and the 3 music CDs all come in this box. So this takes it takes a page out of Dynasty Warriors. So it's like Fire Emblem plus Dynasty Warriors, similar to Hyrule Warriors that was on the Wii U. It's a really, really great game. It does take a lot of the newer characters from Fire Emblem, not a lot of the older, like classic characters, and a lot of people don't like that about this particular game. But it's fun to play. It's fun to play, it's fun to explore, it's fun to fight. It's very easy to pick up and play, and I would recommend this game to anybody who does not have a Switch as well. If you're just looking to get into something that's easy to pick up and play without a big learning curve, this is definitely one of those games. This is the Resident Evil Revelations collection. So this comes with Resident Evil Revelations 1 and Resident Evil Revelations 2. Now, as a side story to the normal Resident Evil games, Revelations is another amazing installment. Not all Resident Evil side stories are this good, but this is a really, really good game. I'm still playing part 1. I haven't made it to part 2, but the storyline is really good. It stays true to the classic Resident Evil elements. It's not like an open world thing. I would recommend this to anybody, and so far we are 3 for 3 for recommendations, but don't think that I'm like just biased against Nintendo. There are a few duds coming as well. This is not one of them. Gear Club Unlimited, the first true car simulator, if you want to call it a simulator. I don't call it a simulator, I call it an arcade style car game. So Gear Club has over 200 different tracks, but the tracks are very, very short. So it has a real arcade feel to it. There's no damage done to the cars that you crash into the walls or crash into other cars. So that kind of really makes it more arcade style than anything. I wouldn't say that this is an amazing game. I say it's decent. It's easy to pick up and play, which is kind of like a theme here for the games that I have in my collection, because I like to show my Switch off. I like to let other people try it out, let them see it, let them play it. I get happy watching other people get happy over my games. But I wouldn't say necessarily that I would spend $50 on this game. I did, and I'm okay with it because I collect games, but I feel like it's a decent game. I would give it maybe a 6 out of 10 or so at the most. This is Dragonball Xenoverse 2 for the Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo is bringing out a lot of games that were already previously on the other consoles, meaning Xbox One and PS4, and they tend to be doing pretty well since you can take them on the go and things like that. But Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is just as good on the Switch as it was on the PS4 and as it was on the Xbox One. It's still that perfect Dragon Ball fighting, and there are a couple frame rate issues that I've noticed when I played. At least when I played. I'm not sure about everybody else, but I did see some minor frame rate issues. Otherwise, the gameplay is still the same. It still feels the same, and playing with a Pro Controller just makes it feel that much better. But Dragon Ball on the go, you can't go wrong. This is freaking Doom. Freaking Doom. Doom on the Nintendo Switch. When they announced that this bad boy was coming out on the Nintendo Switch, this was a day one purchase for sure. So this is actually one of my favorite games, and I picked up Doom on the PS4 and played it all the way through. It was like one of the first games in a long time that I actually took the time to finish and play all the way through. And now I have it on the Switch, and everything from the original versions are on the Switch version. I'm not sure how they were able to fit all of this stuff on here, but amazing title for what's turning out to be an amazing system. I recommend Doom. This is Disgaea 5 Complete Edition. Now, this is a game that a lot of people rave about. They say it's a really great game. If you're gonna get a Nintendo Switch, this is one of the top 10 titles on the system. Me personally, I haven't gotten into it as much as I feel like I should. So this is a turn-based RPG style game. And I do like some games like that, but not all of them. Maybe because I'm not big into strategy and trying to strategize. I'm more of like a stealth guy. But I try not to limit myself to only a few genres of games. So I branch out and I buy games like this. And the couple hours that I did play it, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the art style and stuff like that. But I haven't gotten into it like I feel like I should. But I have a lot of friends, and a lot of friends rave about this game, so I'll give this a secondary recommend for the Nintendo Switch. This is Telltale Batman, another game from the Telltale series, if you know The Walking Dead. What was it? Borderlands, and Batman is another one of them. This is just as good on the PS4 as it is on the Switch. It still stays true to that Telltale feel. There are no frame rate issues. It feels good. You can play it on the go. You can't go wrong. I would recommend Telltale Batman. Plus, it's a lot cheaper than normal games. So if you are gaming on a budget and you're looking for a Switch game, this is one of those titles that you probably should look into. This is ARMS. So when Nintendo announced ARMS, way back when, right? I was like, what the heck? What the heck could this be? Like, these weird people throwing their weird arms around and these like rubber band arms, and I was like, this is not gonna go over well. Until I played this game on demo, and it's actually a really good game. It sucks that Nintendo's not supporting this with additional content anymore, but me personally, I believe that they're working on it in ARMS too, because it actually did sell 1 million copies. I would say it's a sleeper hit for sure. Really something that I would give my kid for Christmas if I had a kid, for sure. It's one of those types of games that you can, you know, play in a party or play in a group of other people, and everybody grabs a Joy-Con and they just get in there and they just start fighting. It's a really good game. It's not like super deep in the learning curve. You do have to understand the controls and how to work the Joy-Cons to be able to succeed in this game. So this is another recommendation for a starter. I would say if you want a game that uses the Joy-Cons well, ARMS is a good place to start. 1, 2, Switch. The game that you either love or the game that you either hate. This was the game that really made use of the Joy-Cons, and Nintendo wanted to stress the use of the Joy-Cons, and that's where Nintendo 1-2 Switch came out. A lot of people feel like this should have been like a packing game with the Nintendo Switch, but I understand it wouldn't have been, you know, the same price if they packed this game in with it. I mean, it's decent. I wouldn't say rush out and get 1-2 Switch because it's not that great, but it is good for like breaking the ice and party style. I did take it to work and I had my boss play it, and you know, she had a really good time with it. So I would say I can't recommend this game. I can't recommend this game. I can only say that it's decent for parties. So if you have a lot of people in your house, a lot of kids, then maybe it's worth it. This is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I am not a big Xenoblade fan. I do have a subscriber that is a huge Xenoblade fan. Whisper, I'm looking at you. He's a huge Xenoblade fan. I am not. But I brought this game, or I purchased this game anyway, because I was really looking forward to getting into it. This is another one of those like open world, it's not truly turn-based, because you can continue to attack as the other person attacks you. But it reminds you of, it has a fighting style like Monster Hunter, because you can continuously, you know, attack your opponent and they don't necessarily, you know, die, you know, on the first few hits. It takes about, you know, 15 to 20 hits, depending on how strong the opponent is. But I mean, I think the game is good. I like it a lot. I did enjoy the time that I did spend with it. I just lost interest pretty quickly. This is Ultra Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. Now, this is another one of those games that they ported over to the Switch, but this game is freaking over 20 years old. This is an old game, and it's been re-released after re-release after re-release. I would say if you have not played Street Fighter 2, this is one of the best fighting games of all time, flat out. There is no argument about it. If you have not already played this game, I would say go ahead and pick it up. Or if you are a huge Street Fighter fan and you're looking for something to play on your Nintendo Switch on the go, then I would say pick this bad boy up. I took this to E3 with me, and while I was waiting in line to play games, I pulled out my Switch and I was playing people in line playing Street Fighter. And people were like looking at me, they're like, oh, he's playing Street Fighter on his Switch. And people were like, I've never seen a Switch. But it's a great icebreaker. I mean, the Switch is a really, really good icebreaker for sure. The Binding of Isaac. This is another one of my favorite titles on the Nintendo Switch. So this has like a kind of quirky art style. So you're Isaac and his mom gets possessed by like the devil, and she tries to kill him. So he like falls into this hole in the basement, and you're trying to fight your way through the basement. It's insane. It's insane. It really is. But every time that you play, the levels change. But not only do the levels change, but your power-ups change. So every game is different, which is why I like this game a lot. You get to explore, you get to play with different power-ups, and you never play the same game, which I really can't complain about. I enjoy this game. This is one of the first games that I picked up from a Switch. Super Mario Odyssey, the instant classic on the Nintendo Switch. If you don't know Mario, this is the game to get. This is true to every Mario element that there is in video gaming. The story is great, the premise is great, it's colorful, it's fun, it's open world, it's great Mario gameplay. This is an instant recommendation to any kid out there, any retro gamer that plays classic Mario, anybody who wants to go back to their Mario 64 days. This is one of those games. I'm not sure if it's as good as Mario Galaxy, but it is almost just as good. Super Bomberman R, which is one of the first titles that I picked up for my Nintendo Switch. This is just classic Bomberman, and there's not much else that I can say about it. It's a decent game. I wouldn't say that I recommend this game. I would just say that it's decent. If you're a Bomberman fan, go out and pick this up. You'll be happy. Splatoon 2. Now, Splatoon is a lot of fun. And that's what I have to say about Splatoon. It's a lot of fun, you know, and you can strategize, but it's better to just go out there and play. You know, being able to just shoot people with paint, it's super colorful. It's one of those games that, you know, you put in on Christmas morning, you know, and it's just amazing, and you love it. And this is one of those games. I love Splatoon. All right, so my camera battery died in the middle of my recording. Let's continue. This is Sonic Forces. Not much to say about Sonic Forces other than I feel like it was not all that it cracked up to be. There are a lot of Sonic fans out there, and I know you love your Sonic, but in my personal opinion, this game was not anywhere as near as good as it could have been, and Sonic has been on a downslide ever since Sonic Adventure 2. And that's just my personal opinion. And it is what it is. Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is a must-buy for anybody who wants a Nintendo Switch. It's classic Mario Kart. I mean, how could you not want classic Mario Kart on your Nintendo Switch? It has all the characters, all the DLC, all the levels. It has the balloon battle, which you cannot deny. This is amazing. Pick up Mario Kart 8 on your Switch. This is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Another Mario game, another recommendation for the Nintendo Switch. I tend to like Ubisoft games. I'm a big fan of Ubisoft games, huge fan of the Far Cry series, big fan of Rainbow Six, and this is no different. This is Mario Rabbids crossover. It's a really fun game. This is turn-based, and I don't mind the strategy in this game. It's not super deep, and it's a lot of fun. You can just pick it up and play it, plus you get to explore a little bit. I like this game, and I enjoy it, and I recommend it, and I liked it so much that I picked up the actual collector's edition, which is empty right now because my figurine is actually upstairs in my game room. But I felt like this was a really good buy. I was very happy to pick it up. And next game is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the game of the year in 2017. I don't care what you say. This is the game of the year in 2017. I don't feel like it introduced a lot of new elements into the franchise, but it built on what was already introduced and just made it better. I mean, going back to the cartoonish, like cel-shaded art style and just expanding the world. The world was freaking huge. The story was amazing. It was just a really, really well done game. And if this wasn't Game of the Year, Super Mario Odyssey would have been Game of the Year. So either way, Nintendo would have had that in the bag. Alright, so let's take a look at some extras that I have. So I do have this Sonic Mania Collector's Edition. So this came with Sonic Mania the game, of course, but it only had a digital copy of the game. I would have loved to have a physical cart of the game itself, but it didn't come with that. But it did come with this nice little like figurine and this little gold coin that I'm probably never gonna look at or use again. But the idea was there. Also have the Legend of Zelda special edition as well. So this came with the game, and it actually came with an actual like case in it too. I'm not sure what else came in here. Soundtrack CD, a Sheikah Eye collectible coin, and then a map as well, which is probably still in the actual box. And along with that, I also picked up the actual strategy guide for Legends of Zelda, which is a really nice book. It comes with the actual map, and then it gives you, you know, word for word how you should play Legend of Zelda. But I had already started my game before I even looked into this book, so it's kind of like, whatever. Also picked up a Pro controller. If you do not want to play with your Joy-Cons, and oftentimes I don't. If I'm not playing in handheld mode, I have my Nintendo Switch just like sitting on a counter or something, sort of like this, like I do all the time. So I have this little stand that I have my Switch sitting in, and I just let it sit there. And I pick up my Pro controller, which feels amazing, by the way. It feels premium. It's not too light. It actually has this nice little like design on the inside, like you can see through it. And I sit there and I just play my Switch, you know, with my Switch sitting on a stand. And this thing works amazing. It works amazing. And I even picked up, there's so many accessories for the Switch. I just continue to pick up junk for it. I have a Mario case to put my games in. This is actually my second case. I have 2 of them. And then these are the analog grips that I put onto my actual analog sticks. And they give me a nice feel on my sticks. It feels a lot better than just touching the normal sticks. So all in all, like I'm enjoying my Switch so much. And I even brought the actual box. You see how small this box is? The Switch is so freaking tiny and compact. You can just toss it into anything and just carry it around. Speaking of, I even picked up a freaking backpack. I picked up the backpack. I looked at this when they first released it and I was like, what the heck? I am never gonna need a backpack for a freaking video game. I'll just use like a school backpack. But this thing is amazing. It allows you to put in your Nintendo Switch, up to 4 or 6 Joy-Cons, your Pro controller, your charger, accessories. There's a space up top for, you know, some extras. In the top there, you have a front compartment. You can put your cell phone in there. I mean, this is everything in one, and I carry it everywhere I go. Whenever my Switch is going out the door with me, this is going with me. And I would recommend this bad boy for 50 bucks to anybody who wants a gaming backpack. And that is my Nintendo Switch collection. So if you have any recommendations, any questions at all, feel free to put a comment in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about your Nintendo Switch. Are there any games that I don't have in my collection that I need to have in my collection? Let me know in the comments below. As always, this is NT Certified. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. Most importantly, subscribe. Become a part of the Certified Club, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.